My very first memory in life was making a piece of art. And I remember looking down at a piece of paper and seeing two very large hands next to mine. The hands guided me to pick up a crayon, and starting in the very center of the page, together we drew a spiral until it reached the very edge of the paper. Most of my memories throughout my childhood were centered around the arts. As you can see here, the spirals continued. That's a theme that you see throughout my artwork. My parents really encouraged me in the arts. My family frequented going to museums and art galleries. At school, I would try to finish all of my homework so that after school I could just focus on my art projects. If I was missing, you would find me in the art lab. I was throwing clay on the pottery wheel, I was painting, I was printing on linoleums. But I started very humbly, obviously. It was a journey, but my parents saw the passion in me to constantly create, and they really nurtured that. As I continued into my teenage years, I really became obsessed with the arts. My school notebooks were riddled with doodles. It was quite a mess, but I still received that encouragement. And during my summer holidays, I tried to start exhibiting my artwork. I even ran some of my own solo exhibitions when I was in secondary school. At that time, there was not much encouragement of children exhibiting their artwork, much less spending so much time doing artwork. I felt discouraged, but my parents continued to encourage me and inspire me. Unfortunately, at 18, I made the decision to pivot. I viewed art as a hobby, so I stopped practicing it for a number of years. And it wasn't until 2020 during COVID where I really started to look at art again as a place of healing, of comfort, and pursuing wellness when we didn't have access to people or resources around us for wellness. And then in 2022, I had the privilege of launching and co-founding an alternative art gallery space here in Lagos. And thank you. Thank you. And that has been an incredible and steep journey in learning about the practical and commercial aspects of the arts. What is the purpose of art? It's a very nuanced subject. It's very subjective. Everybody has different opinions of it. For me, as I've mentioned, it's always been a place for me to go to find healing and nurturement. For children particularly, it's very, very crucial in early childhood development for them to use their hands, to get tactile with different art objects, to play with soil, to play in the dirt. And these are not things that we typically encourage children to do, but it's really what helps children develop their brains, as well as develop certain social skills and develop a sense of empathy and human connection with other people. There are 8 tenets of wellness: physical, intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, vocational, financial, and environmental. Art intersects every single one of these aspects. I would love to share today a few practical stories about how art is able to transform people's lives. So artist Fiyinfoluwa is based here in Lagos, Nigeria, specifically Bariga, and he's known for creating these immersive, dreamlike, lush landscapes, which is very contrasting to the concrete environment that he lives within. It's a form of escape for him. It's his respite. And when you look at his artwork, you get absolutely lost within these landscapes. He puts in these minute, small details that just kind of sweep you away. Fiyin is 11 years old. When Fiyin was 8, his mother asked him to clean out some buckets of paint. So Fiyin saw the paint, he took one of his school notebooks, scooped out the paint, and started spreading it over his school notebooks. His mother saw this, and instead of reprimanding him, she saw a creative spark. In that moment, a whole world opened up for Fiyin, and really it's only because of the encouragement of his mother that he was able to develop his art into something like this in a short amount of time. Luckily, he was encouraged to paint. He was connected to an art teacher so he could pursue his passion. And one of my gallery interns happened to be walking on his way to the bus stop to work, and he saw this boy painting by the side of his house. The prodigy had been discovered, and so the gallery started exhibiting a number of his pieces. Instantly, 2 of his pieces sold. And from the proceeds of those pieces, his mother was able to pay for his school fees for the year, pay for all of his school supplies. Yes. And then she put the rest into savings so that he could afford to buy more art supplies, to make more art, to be able to sell more pieces. So this utopic idea of art being a tool to achieve wellness is what led me to co-found the art gallery. We specifically focus on exhibiting and selling children's artwork. I fully believe that children can attain a better quality of life through the arts. This is what Chidera, an artist at our gallery, had to say about her affinity for the arts. She's 10 years old. You can really express yourself through the colors and the styles that you use. It really gives you time to think about what you want to do and how you feel about it. I really like that. This is one of Chidera's pieces. She makes fascinating conceptual pieces where she sits and ponders big questions of life. She loves to talk about the theory of life. And in this particular piece, Striking Stars, you'll notice some really fascinating brush strokes. Chidera actually built her paintbrush that she used to create this piece. She gathered pieces of grass to make the bristles of her brush. I think of another artist, Simone. Simone has been painting for about 2 years now, and she started her journey in art from an educational aspect. Simone has Down syndrome, and while that affects the way that she sees and interacts with the world day to day, I think also her Down syndrome is what allows her to just freely create and wholeheartedly pursue the arts. Over the past 2 years, she's really grown an in-depth understanding of colors. And colors are what really drives the force of her artwork. And when Simone paints, it's as if the whole world pauses for her. She's able to just sit down and completely focus on that project at hand. And it's so inspiring, honestly. So I think many of the children who graduate from the gallery's programs likely will pursue careers outside of the arts. But I fully believe that the experience they get with being encouraged to pursue artistic endeavors is what will lead them to those careers. I believe that our artists will someday become scientists and doctors, architects and engineers. You learn vital skills by being able to engage with the visual arts. Aside from the skills of engaging with the arts at the gallery, we really prioritize entrepreneurial training. That's often skipped over in schooling systems, right? There's not much practical training about how to handle your money, as well as social poise and skills, how to interact with people and be able to share and explore your creative ideas collectively. I have no doubt that some of the children growing up in the gallery will pursue the arts full-time someday. As you can see, the art is absolutely incredible. If we didn't have videos of the process of these children making these pieces, no one would have any idea that it was a child. You could see it on a gallery wall anywhere in Lagos, New York City, Tokyo, and that goes to show the genius of children. So I want you to imagine, if you have a favorite artist of yours, if you had the chance to own one of their pieces that they made when they were a child. The incredible sentimental and financial value of those pieces would almost be immeasurable. If children aren't given the chance to pursue their artistic interests and passions, I fully believe when they become adults, they won't be interested in preserving and prioritizing the arts. Art plays a major role in societal structure, right? Art has so much to do with what culture is, what heritage is, any type of progress, innovation, and invention goes through a creative, artistic process. And so my dream is to see a whole generation of young children who grow up to be artists, inventors, gallerists, curators, collectors, people who invest in the arts to grow that creative commerce within Nigeria as well as across the rest of the world. These artists are genius, and I think there is so much intrinsic value in the art that they make and create. And I think the time is now for us to start supporting those artists. Thank you.